Have you ever wondered why your blood sugar spikes, even when you don't touch sugar? It sounds impossible, but it's the invisible trap that catches millions of people every single day without them realizing it. What your body does in silence can be far more dangerous than the sweets you avoid. And believe me, there are hidden mechanisms rarely mentioned that silently sabotage your health. I'm Dr. Ana Esperanza, a specialist in metabolism and hormonal health. Now think with me. If it isn't sugar, then what is really sabotaging your health in silence? Today, I'm going to reveal the true culprits. And by the end, you'll see sugar in a way that may completely change everything you've believed until now. But before we continue, I want you to comment this phrase: the danger lies in the invisible. That way, I'll know you're truly paying attention and that this message is leaving its mark on you. Do you really believe that the greatest threat to your blood sugar is only in the sweet treats you avoid? If that were true, cutting sugar would solve everything. But the reality is far darker. Thousands of people live with dangerously high blood sugar every single day without ever realizing why, because the triggers are invisible. The human body, when it feels threatened, reacts in ways that seem irrational, and those reactions, meant to protect you, can slowly turn into poison. Picture a stressful moment, a tense meeting at work, a heated argument at home, or that endless spiral of thoughts that chase you at night when you're desperate for sleep. Your brain, still wired as if you were living in the wild thousands of years ago, interprets these moments as danger, and when danger is detected, it triggers a chemical alarm. That alarm is cortisol, the infamous stress hormone. What almost nobody tells you is that cortisol has the power to spike your blood sugar even when you haven't eaten. Yes, even if you're fasting, even if you haven't had a single bite of sugar, cortisol can command your liver to dump glucose into your bloodstream. Why? Because your body believes stress means survival. It assumes you'll need immediate energy to fight or to flee. That was true for our ancestors when lions lurked in the dark. But you're not running through the jungle. You're sitting in traffic, staring at a glowing screen, or lying awake in bed with your heart pounding. Yet inside you, the same ancient machinery still operates, flooding your blood with sugar as if preparing you for battle. The result? Your blood sugar skyrockets, and you don't even know why. And here's the truly terrifying part. This mechanism doesn't care about what you eat. It operates in silence, again and again, sometimes every single day. Every worry, every restless night, every racing heartbeat is enough to flip the switch. And when that switch is flipped too often, your body becomes locked in a permanent state of alarm, chronic stress. And the longer you stay there, the more resistant your cells become to insulin. It's as if your cells are closing the doors, refusing to let sugar in, leaving it trapped in your bloodstream, quietly poisoning every organ, every tissue, every cell. Perhaps you've felt it already. The inexplicable fatigue that no amount of rest seems to cure. The stubborn weight that clings to your midsection. The sense that your energy is slipping away day after day. These aren't coincidences. They're signs of sabotage. Your own body working against you. And the cruelest part? Most doctors rarely explain this. It's easier to say avoid sugar than to reveal the truth. Your own body can become a hidden sugar factory, but cortisol isn't working alone. Other hormones, too, lurk in the shadows. Take adrenaline, a jolt of fear, a flash of anger, an unexpected scare. Adrenaline surges, and like cortisol, it shoves sugar into your blood instantly. That's useful if you're running for your life, but when it happens at your desk, in a traffic jam, or after a stressful phone call, that sugar has nowhere to go. It lingers, toxic, eroding you from the inside out. And if you're thinking, well, at least sleep restores balance, here comes the cruelest twist. Poor sleep doesn't heal you, it destroys you faster. Studies show that even a single night of poor sleep can slash insulin sensitivity by up to 40%. In other words, after one restless night, your body behaves as if it has aged years overnight. That's why people who live in exhaustion often find their blood sugar spiraling out of control, even if they avoid sweets. Think of it. You toss and turn, glancing at the clock, your mind racing. The next day, your metabolism collapses into chaos. Your pancreas pumps out more insulin, desperately trying to force sugar into resistant cells. But your cells no longer obey. And so, even with no sugar on your plate, your bloodstream fills with glucose. Every lost hour of sleep becomes another drop of poison seeping into your veins. Now imagine the weight of this, repeating over weeks, months, years. Slowly, your body begins to crumble. The pancreas strains, overworked, until one day it falters. And that's the day many discover they're already standing on the edge of prediabetes, or worse, type 2 diabetes. And yet, so many still swear, "But I don't eat sugar." They never realize the real threat isn't on their plate. It's inside their own body. And here lies the darkest truth. High blood sugar is a silent assassin. At first, you feel nothing. There's no pain, no wound, no cry for help. It hides in silence, building like a time bomb. And one day, it detonates in the form of a heart attack, nerve damage, blindness, or the slow decay of your vitality. That's the real invisible trap. You don't need sugar to be destroyed by it. Think of how many people feel safe simply because they say, "I don't eat sweets." They proudly refuse cake, they avoid sodas, they banish candy. But while they celebrate their discipline, their body is secretly conspiring against them. Every stressful email, every restless night, every hidden worry is like another match thrown into the fire. By the time they finally look at their blood test results, the numbers are undeniable. The truth screams from the page. Their body has been poisoning them in silence. And what makes this even worse? Modern life itself. We live chained to screens, assaulted by deadlines, drowning in notifications. Bad news floods us. Financial pressures suffocate us. Family worries weigh us down. It's the perfect storm. The perfect recipe for keeping your body locked in a permanent state of war. A war you never even chose. The brain never rests. The body never heals. And blood sugar pays the price. So let me ask you this. If all of this can happen without a single grain of sugar passing your lips, what other hidden dangers might be waiting inside you? Because what you've seen so far is only the surface of the invisible poisoning. Have you ever thought that by simply avoiding sugar you were safe? That's the most common belief. It feels comforting to imagine that turning down desserts or cutting out sodas is enough to shield your health. But what I'm about to tell you proves the reality is far darker, because there are people who, without touching a single gram of sugar, live with dangerously high blood sugar, and they don't even know it. Let me share a story that has never left the walls of the clinic. I'll call him Eduardo. He was 52 years old, and among his friends he was known as the man who never ate sugar. No sodas, no desserts, no white bread. He was disciplined and proud of it. When someone offered him a piece of cake, he would smile and say, "I don't need it. My health comes first." His family admired his restraint. His colleagues envied his willpower. To everyone, Eduardo was proof that discipline protected you. But Eduardo didn't know that his body was already at war with him. On the outside, he seemed like the model of self-control. But inside, chaos was spreading. Eduardo was a corporate executive, constantly buried in tense meetings, impossible deadlines, and high-stakes decisions. Each phone call made his heart race. Each urgent email was like a bullet of anxiety. At night, when he tried to sleep, his mind refused to shut down. Thoughts galloped wildly, keeping him awake. He slept little, woke up exhausted, and carried the weight of a mountain on his shoulders every morning. When he finally went for a checkup, the numbers left him frozen. His blood sugar was alarmingly high. Eduardo protested to his doctor. "But I don't eat sugar. I don't touch desserts. How is this possible?" The doctor gave no clear answer. He shrugged, muttering something about genetics or lack of exercise. Eduardo walked out confused. How could someone who avoided the so-called #1 villain be silently destroyed by it? The truth was that Eduardo was a prisoner of cortisol. Every stressful meeting released it into his bloodstream. Every sleepless night made his cells less sensitive to insulin. Every restless dawn carved silent resistance into his body. His liver was producing sugar constantly, even when fasting. It was as if he were secretly eating sweets, even though he hadn't touched a single spoonful. And here's the cruel part. Nobody warns you that stress can be as lethal as sugar itself. Nobody tells you that insomnia wears down your metabolism like years of accelerated aging. Eduardo had fallen into an invisible trap. The stricter he was with food, the deeper he sank into a cycle that had nothing to do with desserts. And don't think this is an isolated story. There are thousands of Eduardos out there, people convinced they are safe, yet being destroyed from within. They don't understand why their blood sugar spikes. They don't understand why their belly grows despite their discipline. They don't understand why they're always tired, even after a full night's sleep. The most disturbing part? Many refuse to accept the explanation. They repeat over and over, "But I don't eat sugar, doctor. This doesn't make sense." And that's the point. The danger isn't on your plate. It's being manufactured inside your body. Think about it. You go through an entire day under pressure, your heart pounding, your mind on fire. You don't touch dessert. You don't snack on candy. And still, when you check your blood sugar the next morning, the numbers scream the truth, dangerously high. It's as if your body had turned into a hidden sugar factory, pumping poison into your veins without your permission. And the consequences are not just numbers on a page. This is about organs being slowly poisoned, a pancreas pushed to exhaustion, arteries weakened by microscopic damage, nerves corroded by silent excess. All of this while you proudly refuse every slice of cake. Eduardo didn't realize the full magnitude until the strange symptoms began. Tingling in his hands, difficulty focusing, a crushing fatigue that never went away. He tried to tell himself it was just stress, but deep down, he knew something darker was happening. He discovered with dread that escaping visible sugar wasn't enough. The real enemy was inside, acting like a traitor. That realization haunted him even in ordinary moments. One day after a heated confrontation at work, he felt dizzy. When he got home, he checked his blood sugar. The number was absurdly high, and he hadn't eaten in hours. That was when he began to suspect his body itself was turning against him. But the worst moment came on a sleepless night. The house was silent, the air heavy, suffocating. Outside, the street was empty, the world asleep. Eduardo sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling, his heart pounding as if it knew the truth before his mind did. Finally, he grabbed his glucometer. He pricked his finger, and the device beeped, a sound that cut through the silence like a blade. The number appeared, alarmingly high. He didn't believe it. He washed his hands, repeated the test. The same result. Again, the same cruel confirmation. Picture the scene. Eduardo alone in his bedroom, the cold bluish glow of the glucometer lighting up his trembling fingers. The ticking clock in the background felt like a countdown. Each second of waiting stretched like an eternity. The number staring back at him felt less like data and more like a death sentence. In that instant, Eduardo's mind spiraled. He thought of his friends, laughing about his healthy habits. He thought of every cake he had refused, every soda he had pushed away. All those sacrifices, and still, his own body had betrayed him. A traitor, a machine manufacturing silent venom. And then came the most chilling realization. Eduardo wasn't unique. He whispered to himself, almost shaking, how many others are living this exact same nightmare without knowing it? How many think they're safe because they avoid sugar, when in truth their bodies are quietly poisoning them every single day? Because Eduardo's story is not rare. It could be yours. It could be someone you love. It could already be happening inside you right now without you noticing. And the truth behind his story points to a danger much greater, one that almost nobody dares to speak of. The human body has a sinister talent. It makes you believe you are in control, while secretly unleashing invisible forces that quietly undermine your health day after day. The greatest illusion is thinking that discipline alone is enough. Eat healthy, exercise, avoid desserts, sleep 8 hours. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? But what if I told you that even with all of that, your own body could still betray you? Thousands of people fall into this trap. They follow the rules, they live by discipline, they proudly refuse sweets, and for a while, they believe they are winning. Their test results look fine, Their weight stays stable, their conscience feels clean. But deep inside, the enemy is waiting, hidden, patient, ready to strike. The problem is that the body doesn't run on willpower. It is ruled by a network of hormones and signals you cannot control. You can decide what goes on your plate, but you can't stop your liver from dumping sugar into your blood in the middle of the night. You can't keep your pancreas from wearing itself out. You can't force your cells to open their doors to insulin. It's like swimming against an invisible current. No matter how hard you fight, something drags you down. Growth hormone, adrenaline, cortisol. In normal conditions, these chemicals are supposed to protect you. But when your sleep collapses, when your stress becomes permanent, they transform into invisible executioners. What should heal instead destroys. What should balance instead destabilizes. And while you think your habits are protecting you, silent poison is being brewed inside you. And then comes the enemy no one escapes. Time. As you age, muscle mass decreases, metabolism slows, and even lean people start to develop insulin resistance. That's the cruelest twist of all. You can do everything right and still watch your blood sugar creep higher, your health quietly eroding. Picture someone who looks at their life and thinks, I'm safe, I exercise, I eat clean, I avoid sugar. But inside, unspoken worries, emotional burdens, and hormonal changes are carving invisible scars. One day their blood test reveals the truth, and they're left in disbelief. How is this possible? I did everything right. That disbelief quickly turns into frustration, a sense of injustice. It feels like battling an enemy who cheats. People who practice yoga, meditate daily, fast religiously, who weigh every ounce of food, yet their blood sugar still surges. It's as if their body is mocking them, whispering, your effort doesn't matter, I decide. Because the harshest truth is this: it's not just about your conscious choices. It's about what your body does when you're not watching. This enemy knows how to hide. For years it disguises itself. Fatigue? You blame age. Insomnia? You blame work. Belly fat? You call it normal with the years. And while you rationalize, your blood sugar climbs silently, corroding your arteries, intoxicating your nerves, weakening your heart. And the signs are everywhere if you know how to see them. A man in the grocery store, carefully filling his cart with healthy foods, yet his eyes are sunken from sleepless nights. A woman in the yoga class, moving gracefully, but secretly fighting constant brain fog. A friend who swears off desserts, but hides the exhaustion in their voice. On the outside, discipline. On the inside, collapse. The most chilling part? Sometimes the first symptoms don't show in the body. They appear in the mind. Trouble focusing, forgetfulness, a fog that clouds your thoughts. These are often the first reflections of a brain poisoned by excess glucose. The slow erasure of your most precious possession, clarity. Think about it. Every single cell in your body needs glucose to survive. But when insulin fails, those cells starve in the middle of abundance. It's like sitting at a banquet overflowing with food, but your mouth is wired shut. Outside excess, inside emptiness. That vicious paradox drains your strength and vitality. You probably know someone like this. They wake up early to exercise. They follow strict diets. They refuse desserts. And yet their blood tests show alarming numbers. It's as if their body is laughing at them behind their back, whispering, fight as much as you want. I always win. And it's not just abstract numbers. It's daily life. The crash of energy in the afternoon, the irritability for no reason, the exhaustion that clings to you no matter how much you rest. These are the cracks in a fortress that looks solid from the outside but is crumbling inside. Picture your body as a castle. From the outside, it stands tall, powerful, unshakable. But inside, hidden tunnels weaken its walls. Cracks spread silently. Moisture seeps in. And through these hidden weaknesses, the enemy enters. Slow, patient, invisible. Until one day, without warning, the entire castle collapses. And by then, it's useless to say, but I avoided sugar, because the enemy didn't come from outside. It was there all along, inside the walls. The most perverse part is that this invisible enemy doesn't just attack your body. It feeds on your mind. The frustration of believing, I did everything right, and still failing fuels the cycle even further. Because despair creates stress. Stress releases cortisol. Cortisol commands your liver to release sugar, and the spiral deepens again and again with no way out. Your body becomes a stage of shadows, a silent play where you are both the victim and the villain, a broken machine that pretends to serve you while quietly working against you. A poisoned clock that ticks relentlessly, not counting time, but counting down to collapse. That's the ultimate trap. Believing you're safe by controlling the visible, while the invisible has already taken control. And here's the most frightening part. This process doesn't announce itself. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't scream. It creeps silently day after day until you cross the threshold. And once you do, there is no way back. But what's truly terrifying is that there is a hidden limit, a point of no return, a moment when resistance transforms into collapse. It's like walking unknowingly toward an invisible cliff. You don't see it. You don't feel it. And when you finally step over the edge, it's already too late. And so the question becomes inevitable. Are you too walking toward that limit right now without even realizing it? Because what you've discovered so far is only the prelude to something much darker. Now you understand. This was never just about sugar. From the very beginning, I warned you that an invisible enemy exists, a silent poison running through your body, even when you think you're doing everything right. The great revelation is this. High blood sugar isn't only about what you eat. It's born from the stress you carry, the nights you sacrifice, the hormones that unravel in silence, and a metabolism that with time can turn against you. That is the secret almost no one dares to tell. The real poison isn't on your plate. It's in what your own body manufactures without your permission. Every surge of cortisol, every rush of adrenaline, every night of broken sleep is like a secret command to your liver. Release more sugar, and repeat it day after day. This command reshapes your entire body. Insulin resistance grows like a shadow, and the very hormone designed to protect you, insulin, becomes your executioner. Think about that. The same substance meant to give you energy can turn into the agent that opens the path to collapse. Your body begins rejecting glucose, starving its own cells, intoxicating your blood. And when you finally notice, it's no longer about diet. It's about survival. The most disturbing part? This process rarely shows itself in the beginning. It hides behind ordinary symptoms: fatigue, insomnia, anxiety, memory lapses, unexplained weight gain. You get used to them. You call them aging. You normalize them. But in reality, these are silent alarms flashing red while the clock ticks toward an inevitable explosion. Now you see why so many are shocked when their blood tests reveal high glucose. It's not because they secretly ate dessert. It's because they've spent years intoxicated by invisible triggers. Because they believed the illusion that discipline was enough. Because they didn't realize the enemy wasn't in sugar from the outside, but in the sugar their own body was creating in silence. And that's what makes this truth so unsettling. You can avoid sweets. You can track every calorie. You can pride yourself on discipline. But if you ignore what happens in the shadows, in your stress, in your sleepless nights, in your hormones spiraling out of control, the danger will keep growing. Invisible, relentless, inevitable. So now I must ask you directly, is this invisible poison already flowing in your veins? Has every restless night, every unresolved worry, every drop of anxiety already started to intoxicate your blood? If the answer is yes, time is no longer on your side. You must open your eyes before it's too late. This is the truth I promised you from the beginning. No, it's not just sugar that spikes your blood sugar. It's your own body, transformed into a sabotage machine, releasing poison day after day in silence. This is the invisible trap that captures millions of people, and perhaps it's already capturing you. And if this message has shaken you, I want you to do two things right now. First, subscribe to this channel, because in the coming weeks, I will reveal even more unsettling truths about what's really happening inside the human body. And second, leave a comment below with this phrase: the poison is invisible. That way I'll know you made it to the end, that you faced every revelation, and that you now carry this truth with you. Remember, sugar is only the mask. The real enemy is hidden, and it could already be poisoning you right now, in this very moment.